It's 11:47 p.m. on this Friday evening, and I just watched, Jeff, I just watched your video on the inconsistency of the storytelling and how it matters in professional wrestling, but not just in WWE. And you know what? I couldn't agree with you more, and I think everybody else does. The fact is, WWE is inconsistent. Why do you think I haven't been watching it for a while? It's not because I don't like watching it. I do. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I saw Raw for the first time in weeks. If not weeks, but months. Because I pretty much knew after SummerSlam, when Triple H screwed over Daniel Bryan, I pretty much knew everything was going to go downhill from there. And it did. Because we had consistently seen this before. We had seen this storyline before. And so did everybody else. That's why the ratings were going down. That's why the buy rates were going down, because they pretty much knew what was going to happen. I mean, WWE does everything they were trying to do to try to spice things up. It's not work. It didn't work, because people knew exactly what was going to happen, and it wasn't just because of internets finding out what was going to happen or getting information all that off the internet. No, it was basically because they'd seen this happen before. You see, WWE, whoever's writing right now, needs to step aside and let somebody else take over. And thank God whoever this top creative person, pretty much Michael Hayes, is coming back into the creative fold. Because you know what? Now that Stephanie's kind of out of the picture, perhaps he can have some input, because Michael Hayes is a wrestler. He knows what to do. And you know what? Get Zeb Coulter, Dutch Mantell in there as well. Get some insight from him. Because in case you didn't notice, the episode of Raw that was kind of written or created storyline-wise, hour by hour at times, by, in one night by Heyman and Coulter, Heyman and Mantell, everybody was talking about it and how good it was. Because they know what needs to be done. Even in the restrictions of a PG era, they know what needs to be done. You see, that's the problem. WWE's depending more on these soap opera writers and all that, saying, oh, well, let's pretty much going like, well, if this happened in a soap opera, this is what happened. But since we're targeting the young kids, we need it to be like this. And you know what's ironic, too? You talk about the fact that what everybody else has found out. You talk about the fact that now the WWE's newest policy is for the baby faces, the good guys, after they lose a match, after a while, if they kind of stir around a little bit, kind of shake off the cobwebs, to walk out and kind of be like, oh well, kind of like, oh well, I'll do better next time, and greet and smile. Smile and greet the fans. This is supposed to be, that basically the new policy. And you know what? No one's going to buy that, and I doubt it's going to last much longer. I doubt it will last long at all. But you know why they put that policy out? It's because of the audience they're targeting right now. In case you don't know, the position that Stephanie McMahon got promoted to also includes her being one of the front runners or forerunners in support of this whole mom's children thing that WWE is behind. Yeah. That. So what does that mean? That basically means Stephanie probably, one of the first decisions she came up with all due respect, probably said, well, what would one thing the moms think the kids need to see? Oh, I know, let's have them see good sportsmanship. Even in defeat, let's have the baby faces walk out with a smile and be like, and a shrug, like, oh well, I'll do better next time, and go out and that's probably basically her newest idea. That's probably her newest idea. One of her first new ideas is part of this new position she's in. The only positive of her being moved up is you got an opening in creative. Let's hope they put someone that knows what they're doing in that position. But that's why, in my opinion, you have this whole situation now where the baby faces are like, yeah, oh well, I'll do better next time. Because you got Stephanie probably suggesting that. Because thinking that's what mothers want to see, to be an influence, a positive influence on kids. You know what? You want to know why Saturday Morning Slam never succeeded? It only lasted for 1 year? Because nobody cared. You were pretty much taking a half hour of a cartoon. A half hour of a cartoon. Not a cartoon, but you were basically taking a half hour out of Saturday mornings and treating a wrestling product like it was a freaking cartoon. And you know why it didn't succeed? Because you pretty much had people like Sheamus on there when he wrestled. You freaking blocked out his brogue kick. Is when you went for a brogue kick, you went to the audience, or you went to the announcers, or whoever was announcing that morning, and all you got was the reaction, and that was it. But yet you could show John Cena doing the 5-knuckle shuffle? I don't get it. But that's why it didn't succeed, because pretty much wrestling fans felt insulted. WWE fans in particular felt insulted. They're like, seriously? I remember when Superstars used to be on Saturday mornings. And they never pulled any of that crap. It's all because of these groups and these partnerships, these associations that they have with all these parental groups, especially these mom groups. And I understand where mothers are coming from. I do. You want your kids to see a positive influence. You want your kids to see a positive influence on television. I completely understand it. I do. But word to the wise. This is not PBS Kids. This is not Sprout. This is WWE. This is broadcast on basically 3 networks that afterwards air shows that have the TV-14 rating. This is a product, this is a company that will release R-rated films. This is a company that has a TV-14 rated reality show, if you will, in Total Divas. And the reason it's a success is because of that TV-14 rating. It's not because of what we see, it's because it's TV-14. You get to see these characters say, these people say and do things normally they couldn't do in a PG-rated environment. And that basically is the reason why WWE is in the frustrated state that it's in right now when it comes to the storytelling, because they have good creative ideas for stories. Don't think they don't. Don't think they don't, because they do. They've proven that. But the thing is, you need the right people putting input. You need people with wrestling knowledge of what the fans want to put input. To kind of say, this is how it should go, and this is how long it should go. This is what should be done. But you see, they can't do that. They can't do that because they're in that restriction of the PG era. I said this a couple months ago, about a month or two ago, when I said WWE's trying, that people are hoping WWE's going to have that superstar that's going to break that glass ceiling open, barge that door open, and just start a new revolutionary era in the company where we won't have to deal with this crap anymore. But guess what? Because they're so tightly in that bubble, it's going to take a while. It's going to take a while because pretty much the reason WWE is in this frustrated mode right now. They don't know what to do. Because WWE, come on, let's be honest, WWE thinks they're trying to, well, WWE thinks thinks they are, or at least trying to stay ahead of the fans, ahead of the smart mark crowd. But guess what? They're failing. They're failing because the smart mark crowd is too ahead of them. You know, if I'm WWE and I don't want people to know what's going to happen, guess what I freaking do? I put a policy in, and I'm pretty sure they will do it. But if I was WWE and I didn't want people to tune out my product because they pretty much knew what was going on, I would implement some kind of plan or something like that to say, hey, look, all these wrestling sites, we don't want them to know anymore. Or all these people that come into the arena with the iPods or with the iPhones or the Androids, let's put something on the ticket saying, oh, by the way, please turn off your Androids or your iPhones, or else we will confiscate them. And I know not saying they're going to do that, not saying that, now I'm not trying to give them any ideas, but to me, if I was running the company and I wanted people to be surprised, I want people to be surprised about what could be done. Or not what could be done, but what they would see. So to totally taken out of their seats, like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Guess what you do? Guess what I would do? I would put warnings on the ticket saying, please, no, please turn off your iPhones, your Androids, and all that. So that way nobody knows what's going to happen. Yeah, that's great and all, but guess what? That doesn't stop people from watching the live broadcast on air from the East Coast or the Midwest. It doesn't stop people from watching it from there, from doing that. It doesn't. Yeah, it stops people from inside, like say doing a SmackDown taping, but the thing is, overall, it doesn't stop people from doing it with Raw or your pay-per-views, watching them on television. But if I was running the WWE, that's what I would do, so that way people that are not in the arenas could basically be surprised. Basically, they would be surprised because they wouldn't be able to find out what's going on. I would cut off all things with wrestling sites. That's what I would do. But is WWE doing that? No. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. But you see, that's what's making the WWE frustrated right now. That's what put the WWE in the position they're in right now. Because pretty much they know the smart mark fans, whether through the internet or not, already can see the writing on the wall of what's going to happen here, what's going to happen here, what's going to happen there. Why do you think they're doing this whole TLC thing? I said it before in an audio video. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It's a publicity stunt. All it is to get people's attention on the product. It's like, oh, well, if we said we're going to put champion versus champion, title for title, then oh yeah, it's going to be a unification match. In their minds, it's going to get people's attention. And yeah, it is getting people talking, but it's also getting people speculating that how the ending's going to be. You already have Solomonster on his podcast pretty much agreeing that we might just have a swapping of the belts, and that's it. That's it. That's all we're going to have. And does WWE realize that? Probably. Are they going to try to swerve us? Probably. But here's why they also are inconsistent with the storytelling, like you've said, Jeff. It's not just because of everything I just mentioned or what you've mentioned in your video. It's also the fact that their target audience right now is kids. Remember, I said Stephanie's supposed to be the forerunner now, the head of this whole... One of her responsibilities in her new position is to be like the forerunner or one of the head people in charge of this whole mom's kids program. To make WWE more appealing to the mothers and their kids. Yeah, kids is their target audience right now. And they pretty much figure, well, kids always, kids always playing video games, or they're always out and about and playing in the parks, or they got after school activities and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. They got so many things going on. They're hanging out with their friends at the mall or at the movie theaters, blah blah blah. They're not going to really pay that much attention to what happens, and then the following week they won't even remember. That's pretty much the philosophy. The fact that kids and preteens have other things to do. Either they're playing games, either they're doing other extracurricular activities outside of school or in school, or either they're hanging out with their friends at the mall or the movies or whatever, they pretty much figure, hey, kids are doing all that, then they're not going to pay attention. They won't even remember what happened the previous week. And then the next week will be completely new to them. You know where they're getting that idea from? They're getting it from cartoons. Let me give you an example. Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, which is one of my most favorite cartoons. You didn't have no majority of the episodes, with the exception of the five-part pilot to the rescue, a majority of the episodes were inconsistent. In other words, had no connection whatsoever except for maybe a few, which were the Pirate episodes and the Canino LaFleur episodes. But that was it. All the other episodes had no real connection, storyline-wise. The stories did not continue from one episode to the other. You know what show did and made its success out of that? You know what show did and made itself a success out of that? X-Men, the animated series from 1990. It made itself a success out of that. They made themselves a success out of that. Heck, even my personal favorites growing up. My personal favorite growing up, and I think it was anybody's favorite, Transformers. For 2 seasons it had a single continuity. It had a single consistent continuity to it. Sometimes the episodes felt like they had nothing in common with each other, that they were just their own individual episodes. But they had a continuity in it from the first season to the second season. And that continuity was trying to get back to Cybertron. That was the continuity. That's what made it a success. Yeah, episodes were their own individual episodes at times, except for a few miniseries here and there. But the main storyline stayed intact. It was consistent with its main storyline above all else. Even Sonic the Hedgehog sat AM. Sometimes episodes were their own individual things, except for maybe Blast to the Past, and the final 4 episodes going into Doomsday. But a majority of the second season, most of the second season, was one big constant storyline. Yeah, the first season was more of an introductory season, but it still kind of laid the groundwork, the foundation of what the storyline's going to be, and that's what we got in the second season. And you see, that's how I think WWE, the people that are writing the stuff right now, writing the storylines, writing the episodes, that's how they're pretty much viewing the 3 hours of Raw and the 2 hours of SmackDown and the hour of main event. The fact that the kids, that the target audience, which is kids, are going to view it like it's just a cartoon that has no real connection. When they should know damn well that kids are not the only audience watching. That you have longtime fans like myself, like you, Jeff, like the Tree of Woe, like the British Fist, like After the Credits, Mike Rout, and Metal D. You know, Marvelous Mark, you know, Tasteless Tony, B-Rat, No DQ, you know, all these people, Richard Gray, Solomon, all these people that talk about this stuff and talk about how bad WWE is right now is part of that audience that watches the product, not just kids. And WWE needs to realize that. They need to realize that. You know what they need to do? They need to go back to what made them a success. Okay? I remember when Raw used to be split into 2 hours. So did Nitro. And they would change the ratings from different hours. The first hour would be a PG rating. Second hour would be TV 14. Duh! There's your answer right there. But because you have writers there that should really have no business writing writing stories for wrestling, they're viewing it as it's an episode of cartoons. Or they're viewing it as some kind of sitcom with no real inconsistency. Basically saying, oh, its own individual episode. No kids are going to remember what happened here, and everything will be just all new the following week. Yeah, we'll recap a little bit, but that's it. The thing to me, and that's the thing that bugs me, and that's what bugs everybody else. The fact that WWE and the writers on the creative staff are treating this like these are non-continuity episodes from a cartoon, when they do have a continuity base. They have a storyline. They're not separate. And guess what? There are kids at the age that you're targeting, if not younger or older, that are smart enough to say, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. They should be following up on that. There are kids that are that smart. So if I'm WWE and I've got a position open in creative, I use that position to bring in someone like a Michael Hayes or a Zeb Coulter, Dutch Mantell, or Paul Heyman. Or heck, even all animosity aside, I bring in someone like a Jim Cornette, if I have to, and I say, you're in charge of the writing, you're the head guy of creative, get something going, and get something going good. That is what needs to be done. And believe me, like I mentioned earlier, Dutch and Paul, they made a great Raw about a month or two ago that people talked about, and they did it within the confines of PG. They know how to do good stuff within the confines of PG. Why do you think Jeff, why do you think Jeff, why do you think everybody agrees with you when you mentioned CM Punk versus Jeff Hardy on SmackDown, which was SmackDown's main storyline at the time? Because guess who was behind that? Michael Hayes. A guy that can write, a wrestler that has experience and knows what helps the product. Thank God he's coming back to the writing, to the creative team, because they need a guy like him there. That's what they need to do. If they can get someone like Michael back into the pattern, back into the mold of things, back into the basically get someone like Michael Hayes, they can get him back into the string of things, back into the run of things, if you will. And then bring in someone like Paul Heyman and Dutch Mantell to help out. Not only would they have better storylines and better storyline inconsistency, or better storyline consistency, I should say, not inconsistency, but better storyline continuations and consistency, then nobody like you, Jeff, or me, or anybody else is going to question them anymore, or criticize them, because at least they will have people that know what the freak, if you will, fans would be entertained by. They know what fans would be interested in. You know, why do you think they're finally deciding to turn probably Brodus Clay and Tensai heel? Because they know there's a lot of fans, even kids, that are getting sick and tired of this whole Funky's on a roll deal. They're getting sick and tired of it. They're getting sick and tired of it, and they realize that they would be better off as monsters heels, a top monster heel tag team, than a top monster babyface tag team that's woo, 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 woo. They know that. And I'm pretty sure that Michael Hayes is the one that first came up with that and said, these guys need to get over, but they're not going to get over as these babyfaces. They need to get over as a monster tag team. The Primetime Players were more over than the Tons of Funk were. And the Primetime Players were a heel team, then they finally turned them babyface. It's because they knew, oops. Someone obviously said, oops, these guys are a popular tag team? God, WWE, you need to wake up. But Jeff, like you said, this crap needs to stop. And the best way I see it stopping is a few ways. Either you get the three men that I mentioned to be part of creative, be real true parts of creative, and really be like the final people that say anything. Heck, you got them reporting to Triple H finally. One positive thing, hopefully it's a positive thing, is you have creative reporting to Triple H. Triple H is a wrestler, so he knows, maybe this is what fans want. We'll see what happens. But you finally got wrestler and maybe other retired wrestlers or wrestling personalities working together and connecting. Hopefully that's going to lead to something good. And like I said, you need to get Heyman and Coulter in there, Heyman and Mantell in there, working with someone like a Michael Hayes and any other of those creative guys, so they can have a better idea of what to do. But anyway, again, Jeff, you are right. This needs to change. Because if it doesn't, people are going to tune out the product, and they're going to tune it out a lot worse than what WWE is hoping for. Or not hoping for, but afraid of. And you know what's going to happen? They want wrestling, they're going to tune out the WWE, and they're going to start tuning in TNA and Ring of Honor. Believe me. So, that's all I'm going to say, folks. Let me know what you guys think. Jeff, let me know what you think down below. Comment if you like. I'll talk to y'all later. God bless. Take care.